Yo, once again, it's on. Back at you one more again, Real Kids TV in the house like kitchen sinks. Hopefully you like the video. Feel free to comment, share, definitely subscribe to the channel if you haven't already subscribed. And hit that post notification so anytime I bring you this action, this heat, guess what? You're amongst the first to receive it. Now with no further ado, let's get into this evening's video, if you will. Quite often people ask me questions, several questions about prison. People are intrigued about prison. And to a certain degree, it seems as though some people are like fascinated. Not that they want to go there, but they just are fascinated, as far as how things go, how things are ran, how things are governed in prison. So, people ask a whole lot of questions. And one of the main questions that I get, I guess it's a two-part question when I really think about it. Are you required to have a shank? Like, do you need a shank in prison? And did you have a shank during your prison time? 10 years that I did, over 10 years. Now, the 10 years I did wasn't straight. Everything I tell about myself, I try to be as forthcoming and honest as possible, But nevertheless, I have served over 10 years in the Kentucky Department of Corrections. Not bragging, there's nothing cute about it. If I could go back and change it, I definitely would. But nevertheless, it is what it is. So, I bring you all the Real Kids TV and try to deter the youngsters, or anyone for that matter, from going down the wrong road and finding themselves in prison. As far as a shank, no. I never had a shank. I never had a shank. But understand this. Understand this now. I've never been to a high level, level 4 maximum security prison. I've been behind the walls, been behind the gates, which is a medium security. And it definitely goes down in medium security prisons. But Kentucky's not really full of maximum security prisons. So you have Eddyville, where Fleece Johnson served his time. That's where death row's at. And you have Eastern. You have Eastern Correctional Complex, I believe is what it's called. I'm not sure if Eastern is max, but if it's not, it's the closest thing to it. I've been in prisons where, stabbings take place and violence, but it wasn't like every single day. You know what I mean? Something might happen every day. It might be a fight, or somebody might get hit upside the head with something. But like, as far as that, just violence every day and just have to be on edge and have something on you at all times, nah, I've never fortunately I've never had to go to an environment like that. I would imagine that if I did end up in an environment like that, I probably would have a shank. Probably have a couple of them, because you have to be able to protect yourself. But let me tell you the downfalls of having a shank. Let me tell you why when I watch a lot of these other prison channels, see a lot of them, and not all of them. And I'm not talking about anyone in particular right now. There's no subliminals or anything like that. But a lot of these dudes be exaggerating, and some of them just outright lying. Just for views, just to make the story sound more interesting, make it seem like they was really was fighting for their life every day, and they made it out. Yeah, prison's a rough place. It definitely can get very, very serious, and it's serious anyway when you in prison. So it definitely can get more serious. But at the same time, some of these dudes just take it way, way too far, because the thing about a shank is this. First of all, you have to find somebody to make you a shank, unless you can make it yourself. Now, neither is very hard, but nevertheless, you still have to do so. If you do get a shank, where you going to keep it at? You can't just have it on you at all times, just walking around with a shank, because The COs, they'll just randomly, they do random pat downs. Now, if you have it on you, I guess tucked away so well to where, you slide through the pat down, they pat you down and they don't find it and they tell you go on. But who wants to take that chance? Because if you get caught with a shank, man, it's probably an outside charge. And you're about to go to the hole for a long time. Now, if I'm in a situation where, it's violence all around me every single day, then I don't really, whatever comes with it, comes with it. But when you're in a situation where you can probably get by without it, unless you just got some beef, you owe somebody or some people's after you or, something like that, I wouldn't deal with it because, like I said, it's hard to just have it on you. Most of the time, people that do have shanks, they have them placed in certain parts of the yard. They'll bury them. They'll have them in just certain areas. So if anything goes down, they know, okay, I need to get over here. You really don't want to keep it in your cell because they come in and they do cell searches. And yeah, I have seen people, able to hide the shank in the cell. And when they did the shakedowns, cell search, they didn't find it, but they bring in dogs, they bring in metal detectors, they tear your whole cell up, so it's having a shank is, it sounds good, but like I said, it's very difficult to have on you. So you may have one, like I said, and it's buried on the yard somewhere. So you're going to actually have to be able to get to it. So that's my take on having a shank. Prison is just all about respect. You go in there, you mind your business. You're mannerable. You don't borrow anything from anybody. You don't play poker. You don't play basketball. You try not to gamble in any capacity. And just do your time and come on out. But sometimes trouble finds you. Now, if you have a scenario to where you got, some dudes that's looking to get at you, they're after you. For you all that don't know what get at you means, they're after you, and, you have to protect yourself. Then by all means, you got to do what you got to do. But just understand, when you do what you got to do, you may extend your trip. That's the danger of prison. Because you're in there, here it is, you're in there and you're trying to do the right thing. You are doing the right thing. You're taking your classes. You staying out of trouble. You working your little job. You working your programs. Everything is just going smooth. And then, just out of the blue, trouble finds you. Now you had beef with somebody. And their car is 5 or 6 people deep. The car is your crew that you roll with. You rolling pretty much by yourself. You may have your cellie, you and your cellie may be cool or whatever, but for the most part, you riding by yourself. So what do? Ain't like you can go tell the administration. Ain't like you can go tell the staff, because now you're a rat. And that's definitely a no-no. It's a no-no anywhere. But it's definitely a no-no in prison. So now it's like you're trying to keep your conduct clear and clean so that you can get home as quickly as you possibly can. But yet, you got these goons after you. Danger in prison, man. It's definitely a dirty game in prison, man. The best thing is just not put yourself in a predicament to where you can end up in prison. I always reference Fleece Johnson. And for y'all that don't know Fleece Johnson, just Google him. Just Google Fleece Johnson. Everything he did is documented, as he would say, is documented. He went in with 12 years, a 12-year sentence, ended up serving 40. That happens so often. Now he's out, doing well, it seems. But just imagine, he went in with a 12-year sentence and ended up doing 40. I'm sure he didn't plan to do 40. 40-year sentence. And he's fortunate to be home with his family and his loved ones, because you got some people that go in and end up catching a life sentence and never come back out. You know, when you get involved in certain things in prison, you know, gangs and you know, sexual activity, that's another thing that'll get you dealt with in prison, man. Don't mess with anybody's boyfriend. Not that you would do that. I'm just simply saying if you just happen to be into that sort of thing or whatever, don't get caught up messing with nobody's boyfriend. Don't even talk to nobody's boyfriend. Get your noodle pushed all the way backwards, man. Get your noodle pushed backwards like getting your wig split. All this gone. All this all gone. This is gonna be way back here, man. Somebody gonna split you. Gonna split you wide open if you're lucky. They subject to kill you. Subject to kill you, man. So hopefully this answers your question on shanks. I've never had a shank again. Do people have shanks? Absolutely. I've seen shanks the size of swords. But everybody where I was at is not walking around with them. And you rarely see them. But people do have them for protection. But it's a heck of a ticket if you get caught with one. I'm going to tell you that, man. You know, if you're in a rough environment and you rather get caught with it than without it, cool. But when you're in a situation, you're in prison and it's not really that rough and tough of an environment and nobody's really, you know, pushing up on you, bothering you per se, don't go get you no shank. This ain't TV. It's not television. A lot of times, man, the prison shows and prison movies, people think that, you know, when you're in prison, you're really living like that. And it's not. Heck, a lot of people in prison live better in prison than they live out here. I'm going to make a video about that because that's real talk. Real Kens TV. Hopefully you like the video. Feel free to comment, share, subscribe to the channel. So anytime I bring you this heat, this action, guess what? You're amongst the first to receive it. Stay out of prison, man. No place for you. Stay out here with your family, your friends, your loved ones, man. If you think about picking up that gun, you think about picking up that bag, you think about robbing that store, you think about snatching that purse, understand that when you go to prison, whatever your problems are going to multiply by 10. Because now you locked up. You can't do anything. People's not going to fool with you. People's not going to really answer your calls like that after so long. You know, if you're in there long enough, people start to pass away. Kids grow up. They're mad at you. You know, if you continuously go, they have a problem with you. So I'm just saying it's just best to stay out here, work it out. If you know, whatever your situation is, it can be worked out. Real Kens TV.